For today's video, I'm going to be using acrylic yarn, measuring tape, stitch markers, scissors, a crochet hook, and this is optional, but I'm also going to be using an elastic cord that you can find in the description. For this pattern, you can use any type of yarn that you want and also any hook size that you want, because it doesn't matter if the base is see-through or not, because it's going to be covered up with ruffles. I'm going to be using a 425 crochet hook, and acrylic yarn is known for stretching, so I recommend you subtract 6 inches off from your measurement. That way it stretches out to the exact size that you need, which is also another reason why I personally add an elastic cord whenever I use acrylic for my projects. So I'm going to start off from the top to the bottom, and I'm going to start by making the waistband. The waistband can be as thin or as thick as you want. You can alter that by adding more or less chains. Personally, for my waistband, I usually do a chain length of 8, which usually ends up being 7 stitches. Once your chain length is done, we're going to make a rib stitch. That way it allows the shorts to stretch and it also has some texture. You can do this with single crochets or half double crochets. You can pick whichever one you like most, but I'm going to be using half double crochets. So to do that, you're just going to yarn over, go into the stitch, grab the yarn and pull all the way through. Yarn over, go inside the stitch, grab the yarn, pull all the way through. And you're going to continue this until you're about halfway. Once you're halfway, I'm going to show you how to get rid of this tail, and to do that, you just put your hook in, pull the tail forward, and simply just crochet over it. Once you finish your second row, you're going to chain 1, and you're going to repeat the same thing of doing half double crochets only on the back loop of the stitch. And now you're going to do this back and forth until you reach your measurement. Once I finish this, I'll come back and let you know how many rows I ended up doing for my size. I just finished my waistband and I did 52 rows, which equals to 26 inches, and now I'm going to join them together. And to do that, you're simply just going to line it with itself and make sure there's no curving. And then you're simply just going to join these together and slip stitch your way up. Once you slip stitch your way up, this is how it looks like on the inside, and then this is how it looks like on the outside. Now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to make a round of single crochet to smoothen everything out. So after you chain 1, you're going to go straight in and just simply make a single crochet everywhere you see. Once I finish making single crochets, I'll come back and tell you what to do next. I'm almost done with my single crochet row, so now I'm just going to slip stitch and chain 2. 1 and 2. For the base, I'm going to be making rounds of half double crochets, so I'm just going to yarn over, go into the back loop, grab the yarn and pull all the way through. Every other row, we're going to create half double crochets only on the back loop. The reason why we're doing it in the back loop is because this stitch will stick out, and it's just going to be easier when we need to anchor down the ruffle part. And now I'm going to make rounds of half double crochets back and forth until I reach the measurement from my waist to my crotch part. So I would continue this until I have 7 inches of length. And also keep in mind that you have to alternate between a back loop row and a regular row. That way you can anchor down the ruffle part. So once I finish that, I'll come back and let you know what to do next. I just finished my 7 inches, and for me that is 17 rows. Personally, I did not need to increase, but if that's something you need to do for your size, you're going to add 2 stitches in the same spot and just try it on and see what works best for you. It's a little bit hard to tell with this color, but I did a back loop row in every other stitch, and now when I do the ruffle part, it's going to be a lot easier to anchor down the stitch just because this is already exposed. Now I'm going to show you how to do the leg holes for this part, and to do that, you're going to center it exactly with your working yarn in the back, and then you're just going to make half double crochets until you reach the stitch marker. But before we do that, we're going to measure the circumference of our thigh, and then we're going to figure out how much we need to do the chain length for this part. So for me, this measures 9 inches, so 9 plus 9 is 18, and 24 minus 18 is 6 inches, which means that the chain length that goes in between will be 6 inches. Now I'm going to make half double crochets until I reach this stitch marker, and then I'll come back. I reached my stitch marker, so now I'm going to make a chain length of 20, which measures to 6 inches, but keep in mind that this chain length might vary per size. Now that the chain length is finished, I'm going to join it where we started. So I'm just going to go on the stitch and slip stitch, chain 2, flip your work, and make half double crochets like normal. And you're going to continue alternating between back loops and regular rows. So I'm going to do this for a total of 12 rows and then come back. Keep in mind that you can alter this to your liking. So if you want longer shorts, you're going to do more rows, and if you want shorter shorts, you're going to do less rows. So like I said earlier, once I finish my 12 rows, I'll come back and show you how to start up the other leg. I just finished one of my pants legs, and now you're going to repeat the same thing we did on this side but on the other side, and this time is going to be a lot easier just because it's already pre-made, and all you have to do is repeat the same amount of rounds you did on this side. Personally, what I like to do for the loose ends is I'll grab my hook, I'll go underneath a stitch, and then I'll split my yarn in half, and then I'll just put one side underneath, the other one stays on top, and then I simply just tie it off and cut off the excess. I'm going to flip my work until I see the seam, and this is where I'm going to join the row. That way it matches up with all the seams. So to start your row, you're actually going to flip this because this lands on a normal row. So I'm simply just going to put my hook in, bring the yarn forward and tie it. And then I'm just going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And you're going to make half double crochets and crochet over the tail. And like I said earlier, you're going to repeat the same amount of rows you did for the other side. And once both of my pants legs are done, I'll come back and show you how to add in the elastic strap. I just finished both pants legs, and now I flipped it inside out. That way I can add the elastic cord in. If you also want to add an elastic cord to your bloomers, you can find this in the description. So to add an elastic cord, I usually aim for the middle. That way I can put the strap on the top and it doesn't fold over. So I'm just going to loop this through and make a knot, and then I'll single crochet my way around. Once your knot is placed, you're going to go in and chain 1. And in every row that's raised, you're going to add a single crochet. So you're going to go through the front loops only and then make a single crochet. The reason why we're only doing the front loops is because that way it doesn't show in the front. I'm going to go into the front loops again and make a single crochet, go into the front loops, make a single crochet, and you're going to continue this all around, and notice how it doesn't show up in the front. Once I finish this, I'll come back and show you how to add the jock strap. The elastic cord is now in place, and now my shorts have a stretchy waistband. Now for the drawstring, I did a chain length that's 3 times the size of my waistband. And now to feed it in, I'm just going to put a darning needle through, and then I'm going to find the center of this. And then I'm just going to go in and out of every other stitch. And once you've done that, then you can place your bow. Our waistband is now finished, and now it's time to add the ruffles. So as mentioned earlier, we're going to be adding the ruffle only on the rows that are sticking out. So this is how often I would do them. Now I'm going to show you how to start off the ruffles, and you're going to repeat this for all of the rows. I'm going to start off on the back, that way the seam remains on the back. So just going to go through the bottom stitch, grab the yarn and tie it off. Once you've done that, you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and you're going to crochet over this tail. That way you don't have to weave it in later. For the ruffles, I'm going to be doing 4 double crochets in every single spot, and if you want more or less ruffles, just add more or less and just see what works best for you. So to do a double crochet, you're going to yarn over, go inside the gap, grab the yarn, pull once and twice, yarn over, inside the gap, grab the yarn, pull once and twice. And this is basically what you're going to be doing for the rest of the shorts. You're going to be adding 4 double crochets in every single stitch until you finish your rows. So once I finish my ruffles, I'll come back and show you the final result. Okay, so here's a quick little update of how my bloomers are looking like, and currently I'm in Colombia and I also bought some yarn here locally, and this is all I have left, and I have not been able to find this color anywhere. So I'm just going to do a couple little changes, that way I have enough yarn for the rest of the bloomers. So this is how the bloomers would look like if you did ruffles every other row. It would be very close and you can't see through it, but I'm going to change it to every 2 rows. and that way I am going to have a little gap in the middle, but that's okay. It's going to look a little bit more like the thumbnail instead. But I'm just going to switch these 2 rows into this side, and then hopefully I have enough for the rest of this. This is the final result, and they came out exactly how I envisioned them, and I love them so much. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next week.